Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about setting up a project in Microverse. In this video we will walk you through the step-by-step process of setting up a project in Microverse while learning valuable skills along the way. Before we delve into the nitty-gritty details, let's talk about why learning to set up projects in Microverse is crucial for a development journey. Whether you aspire to become a professional developer or embark on your own entrepreneurial ventures, mastering the art of project setup in Microverse is a fundamental skill that will serve you well. These skills are not only applicable within the Microverse ecosystem but also widely used in the industry. You'll be utilizing them in all Microverse projects and most likely in your future job as well. So it is vital to gain a solid understanding of project setup in Microverse. By the end of this video, you will gain expertise in several essential areas, including creating branches with different base branches, following GitHub flow for efficient collaboration, opening pull requests in GitHub to initiate code reviews, writing descriptive and easy to understand commit messages, writing concise and detailed descriptions for pull requests, crafting a descriptive and user-friendly Readme, demonstrating the ability to submit a project for code review. Now let's get down to business and explore the steps to set up your very own project. And before we move on, I'm going to really appreciate you guys to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel. And if you have subscribed to my channel, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now let's get started. So this is my dashboard, and I am very sure you also have your own dashboard. So if you haven't signed up in Microverse, kindly sign up. Microverse is a good place to learn software development. We'll be working on a project in Module 1, a solo project in Module 1, and in week 1, day 2. So this is my week 1, and this is day 2. So we'll be setting up a Hello Microverse project. So this is it. I've opened the page. So whenever you click on a project, you are going to go, it will be redirected to a GitHub page. So this is where Microverse manage their resources for the student, and you can only access the page while you are a student in Microverse. So this is it. We have so the first whenever you want to start a project, the first needs to read all instructions, everything on the page, try to understand it, and then you commence your project. Now we have learning objectives, so you should read that: the estimated time, description, general requirements, code reviews, and submit your project. So in this video, I'm not going to talk too much about reading the learning objective, description, and so on. So I'm just going to come to my general requirement. So the general requirement is first to set up. We should make sure there are no linter errors. We should make sure that you use correct GitHub flow. Make sure that you documented your work. So this first one, no linter errors. So this process is by setting a linter. You have to set a linter whenever you want to start a Microverse project. So I have done that I have a video which I have taught how to set up a linter in Microverse. So I'll put the link in the description. Kindly check it so that you understand the method, the process to setting up a linter in Microverse. So now for the now we'll continue by doing the requirements for the project. Remember to document your work in a professional way. Create a new GitHub repo. So the first we are going to do now, we are going to create a new GitHub repo. So let me come to my GitHub. Now and you can see this is my own page, my GitHub profile. So the first thing you can do is to create your new repository. You can either use this green button here, so where you have new, or you can come to this plus icon and click it to have a drop down menu. Then you choose the new repository. So I'm going to click on this to create a new repository. That's the first we are going to be doing. Now we have another page, create a new repository. So here you are going to come, you change it, you choose an owner. So I'm choosing myself, Ibn Ballo. So and the name of the repository, since we are setting, make sure that the name of the repository aligns to the project you are actually doing. So this project we are doing is like setting up a Microverse project, and we want to create an hello world. So let us just name this repository hello world. So it's checking available. As you can see, hello world is available, so I can use this name. So the next thing we are going to do is to click on create repository. Good, I have created a new repository, and as you can see, this is an empty repository. There's nothing in it. So we are in the code tab. I can see there's nothing in it. These are some other options you can use, like or create a new on the command line. You can create a new repository on the command line using this method. So and so without wasting much of the time, so we are going to copy this link here. We are going to copy it by clicking on this copy icon here. So we are going to copy it, so that because we want to use it in our local system. We want to work on our local system, and we are going to push it into our repository. So I have copied this, and the next I'm going to go is my Git bash. If you haven't installed your Git bash, make sure you install it. So you can use a VS Code to also do this, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'll be using Git bash and VS Code. So the first thing I want to do is I want to clone the new repository I created in GitHub. I want to clone it to my local system, so that I'm going to have it in my local system. I can see here I have a Microverse folder in my local system. Let me just open it so that you can see. Let me see. Microverse. Okay, see. So now this is my Microverse folder, and here I have Readme template. This Readme template is a template for Microverse, which I will always recommend everyone should also have in their local system. They should clone the repository and have it on their local system, because they'll be using it for all the projects they'll be doing in Microverse. So this is important. I will show you how to do that in a very short time. So now I have my, and I can see it has empty, it has no hello world. There's no hello world in this folder. So now let us clone the repository. So to clone the repository, you are going to use git clone. Then you copy the link. You paste the link you copied in your GitHub repository. You copy it here, and you click on enter. So it is cloning into hello world. Now it has finished cloning, and we have warning: you appear to have cloned an empty repository. So don't bother yourself about this. This is just a normal thing, because of course you created an empty repository. You cloned an empty repository. So now what we are going to do is, when we go back to our folder, you will notice we have something else. I can see now we have hello world. So it means we can open this directory and work on it, and that is what we are going to do now. So you use cd to change your directory into what? Into hello world, and you click on enter. Now we are now in the hello world repository, which we created in our GitHub, which we created here. So we are there now, and so one thing you are going to notice is, in this Microverse, there's nothing like main. Yeah, there's nothing like main. But when we enter this hello world, we have main. So the reason we have main here is because this hello world is a folder in GitHub. So this is a folder, or let's say this is a repository in GitHub. So that is why we have the main here. So the main here indicates that this is the main branch. So the main branch is this hello world, and it means we are currently in the main branch rather. So now we have completed one of the learning objectives we are to do by creating a new repository. So we have to create a new repository as indicated in the project. So create a new GitHub repo. So we've done that, and we've also cloned it to our local system. Now the next thing we are going to do now is to create a new branch according to GitHub flow. Now before moving on to creating a new branch, I said something earlier, so which is very important about cloning the Readme template in Microverse. So this is how you are going to do it. So and also actually you'll be giving the template in every project also, I think. So and you can just click here, this template. I can say add descriptive Readme file to your project. Please use this template, but remember to customize it to your project. So now we are going to just have this in our repo, in our hello world repo. So I want to show you how we are going to do that. So you come here and open it in a new tab. So this is the GitHub, the Readme template we are going to be using in Microverse. So as you can see, we have all this. So what I'm going to advise you to always do is whenever you want to start a project, you create a new repo, you clone it to your local system. So after cloning to your local system, the first thing I'm going to advise you is to use this template and add it to your main branch. So that you'll be able to move on, you'll be able to create another branch. So according to the GitHub flow. Now to clone it the same way, you are going to copy the link, and you are going to come to like this folder. So the process we take by doing this hello world, cloning to our local system, is what we are going to use for this too. Since I've already cloned it, I'm not going to do that again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the Readme file to my GitHub, to my local system. And before I do that also, let me see if we have anything in the hello world. So because I want to show you, I can see the hello world folder is also empty. And what we are going to do is to create a Readme file. So we are going to create a Readme file, and creating any file, doing anything, I'm going to be doing that in my VS Code. Now I'm going to open my VS Code through this, from this repository, from this directory. I'm going to open my VS Code. So you can do that with using this command. If VS Code is your default editor, so this will open VS Code. If VS Code is your default editor. As you can see now, the VS Code has opened, and so we are in the hello world. I can see we are in the hello world directory. We are in the hello world directory that we just created. So let me close this welcome page. So, and also you will notice here that we are in the main branch. So this hello world indicates that this directory is a GitHub directory. So you should take note of that. That is why we have the main here. Now, since we have opened it, we want to create a Readme file in the main branch. So what you are going to do is either you click on new file here, or you double click on this panel. So when you double click, I can see you have, now we are going to create a readme.md file. Good. So I have created a readme.md file, and I don't want it to be empty. I want to put the Readme template in Microverse. I want to put it in this repository. So in this Readme file I just created. So the simple thing I'm going to do is to come back to my I can see now in my folder I also have the Readme file now in the hello world directory. So when I should open it, I have the Readme file, but it is empty. So what I want to do now is I want to put this Readme template, I want to put it into my Readme file in the hello world Git directory. So I will just copy everything here. no, first, sorry. I can just, okay, let me just copy everything here so I can use it. Copy, and I can, so we have readme file here too. So I'm going to copy this and come back here and paste everything here. Yes, I'm going to replace it. Good. So now I have what updated my readme file, my hello world. So it's now having app screenshots, MIT, Mopo logo, readme. So now if I should come back to my VS Code, you will see this. You can see now we now have the 4 files I copied. So we have the app screenshot, MIT, mopo.logo, readme file. So this is the easiest way to create a readme file using the readme template in Microverse. Now, what we are going to notice here is that everything here is green. Why is it green? It is green because this is a GitHub repository. This is a GitHub folder. So in this GitHub folder, whenever you add anything to your project, whenever you do any changes, whenever you update anything, it's going to change to green, telling you that this needs to be added or this needs to be staged. So you have to stage this, and we haven't done that yet. So to do that, we are going to use our Git bash. As I said, I'm going to be using VS Code. I'm going to be using Git bash. So let us open my Git bash, and before I stage these changes, let me see my status. If you want to see the status of your work in GitHub, you can use Git status. Now Git status, I can see here we have we have MIT MD, the files we just added. As you can see, they are all red. The files we just added, they are all red. Now if I should use Git add, I'm going to be adding everything at once. So Git add, and to add every changes you've done, every separate files, you want to add everything at the same time. You want to add, you use the dots and you click on enter. So I've staged these files I just added. Now if I want to check my status again, so Git status, I can see now they are now green. I can see they are now green. So because I've added them, I've staged them, so for commit. So to do, the next thing I'm going to do is to commit them. I can see no commit yet, so changes to be committed. So these are changes I need to commit, and to do that, you are going to use git commit -m. Then the commit message is like, I can just add template, readme template. So make your commit message descriptive. So now I've added it, and let me check my status again. So now I can see after adding this, your branch is based on origin main, but the upstream is gone. So use git branch on set object to fix up. Now what I'm going to do now is, okay, I have to say the upstream. Say the upstream is gone. I don't know why, but let me use git push, because the next thing after committing is to push. Let me see if this is going to push, and if it does not push, that means I'm going to use the git branch on set upstream to fix up. So let us wait for it. As you can see, we have git push, unable to access, this failed to connect. Okay, this is a network issue. Let me clear. This is network issue. Let me do it again. Git push, and see that is network issue. Good. Now I can see it is now pushing. So these changes I made locally. You know, I did all this locally, and I can see after adding git using git add, and after committing using git commit. So these things, all these files, they change to white because we have already committed them, and there's no new thing to add. You have not added any other changes to my GitHub folder. So now if I should go to my local, my remote repository, which is this place, and if I should refresh the page, let me refresh and see what is happening. Good. Can you see now? I have my, everything is here. All the files I created locally. I did this locally. So I did this locally, and I can see it's now in the remote repository. So the MIT, the readme, everything is now there. So this is important. You can see I have the template also, the readme template. So after, when you finish your project, before you do a pull request, then you can now update your readme file, which is mostly the last thing you are going to be doing before pull request. whenever you are working on your project. So now we've completed that, and which is not stated in the requirement, but of course you have to do that. That's the procedure you have to take. So then the next thing we are going to do is we have to create a new branch according to the GitHub flow. So we have to create a new branch, and doing that is we are going to be doing everything we'll be doing. We are going to be doing it locally. We are not going to be doing it on our GitHub repository remote in this page. We are going to be using our local system to do everything. So the next thing we want to do is to create a new branch. And if I should ask which branch are we presently, you should surely know the answer. So we are in the main branch. I can see we are in the main branch. So to create a new branch, we are going to use this command git checkout, and we are going to the branch we want to create at the same time, feature. So this is the name of the branch we want to create. And now when I click on enter, now I can see switch to a new branch feature. So I've created a new branch, so I have feature branch, which is this. So it has changed to main, and the main is still there, but I have another branch which is called feature. If you want to check all branches you have, you can use git branch -a to check all the branch you have. So good, I can see we have feature branch and main branch. So, and when you notice something that one is green and one is white, the one that is green indicates that this is the branch you are presently in. So this is just a bonus for you so that you can know how to use git command. So let me clear this. Now we have created a new branch. So, and the next thing we are going to do is we are going to make this new branch our default branch, because we want to follow the GitHub flow. We want to use the GitHub flow. So to do that, we are going to come to our settings. You come to your settings, and I can see default branch. So we are going to change the default branch. So the default branch is considered the base branch in your repository, against which all pull requests and code commits are automatically made unless you specify. So now you want to change this default branch, and I can see I can only rename this branch. Why? Because the new branch I created is still in my local system, in my local Git. It has not been pushed to my remote GitHub repository. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to push this new branch I created to my repository. So I'm going to use git. I can just hit git push origin, say the origin, and feature. Then you click on enter. Good. Now if I should go back to my folder here and I refresh my page, you'll notice something. Now you see now I can rename this branch, and the same thing I can switch to another branch. So for the default branch, I want to change my default branch, and because I want to use the GitHub flow process. So now this is it. You change your default branch to feature, and you update. Good. So now I have changed my default branch to feature, and now I can create another branch. Since we are using the GitHub flow, I can create another branch. So actually I don't want to create another branch using the GitHub flow you'll be using when you start your React module. I think so. So but when you are doing your first week, in the first module, which is module 1 and module 2, if I'm not mistaken, so you will be using those two, like just the main branch as your base branch, without changing the default branch. So you don't need to, but this is important because you can even start right away using this method I'm teaching you, so that you can get easy understanding when you want to start your React module and the rest. And when you want to use the GitHub flow process, you should try to make this feature branch I created should be dev. It is good to use it as development branch, because development branch, it means that okay, I'll be having many features under the development branch. So using the GitHub flow. Now, since I have made this feature branch my default branch, so I want to create another branch, git checkout, and let me say okay, what setting? No, I want a good name. Okay, let me use development. So I'm now using it like this, but the best case is to always use development as the default branch instead of feature. And when you want to create another branch under the default branch, you can now be using the feature, like the features you want to do. This exact feature I want to do, okay, I want to create a navigation bar, I want to create a header, so you'll be using that branch for that. So now the same thing I'm going to do now is to push this branch also, development. I can say I wrote dev. In Git bash you can press your tab and it's going to complete the name, and you press enter. So I have also pushed this development branch to my repo. So now let me go back to my code and you will see something. Now I can see we have three branches. And the default branch here is now our feature branch. I can see so we are going to be working on this feature branch. So that is why we created it. And you know, when you are having big projects to do, you'll be having various branches also. You'll be having different branches also. But for the sake of this tutorial, so I'll just have just one branch under the default branch. And don't forget, I told you that you should always make the name of your default branch when you are changing your default branch from main to another branch. You should always make it as default. So the feature, you should also always make it as development branch or dev branch, because that is where it sounds okay and it sounds meaningful. Okay, this development branch is where I'll be developing all my feature projects, all my features. So in this project, so it is, so instead of using feature and putting development under it. I hope you understand. So now we've also accomplished this third part, creating a new branch according to GitHub rules. Now the next thing we are going to do is what? Add a Git Ignore file. So we are going to add a Git Ignore file. So doing that, we are going to do that in our local system. And to do that, you should what? You should create a new folder. I think you can either double click on this panel or you come here and create a new file. So the name of the file I want to create is .git ignore. So .git ignore. Now this git ignore is telling us to ignore everything inside this text, be it a folder or be it a file or be it anything. So we want to ignore anything we will not be using in our project. We want to ignore it. Like in most cases, the node modules is always being inside this git ignore, because the node modules all have the packages you are installing from other frameworks and something like that. So you should just put it in the git ignore. So we've created our git ignore, and so when you let us check our git status again, git status, to see what we've done. So now I can see we have git ignore. So this is the new thing we just added, and it requires us to add it and also commit it. But I'm not adding yet because I've not put anything inside. I can add, of course, but I want to put some things inside it. So I've add a git ignore file. Then the next thing is add a node modules to git ignore file. So this node module, so let me add it, is a folder. So, and I'm going to put it in the git ignore file. So how am I going to do that? So here I can create a folder called node modules. I can see I've created another folder. So in the root directory. So be conscious of that. In the root directory, I created a new node modules, and in this node module, I can see, look at how it looks. So it looks clickable, visible, and now the next thing I will do is to add it inside the Git Ignore. So as we are going to ignore this folder, we are going to ignore it, and to do that you can just do something like this. So if you do this, you've added the Git Ignore, the node modules to the Git Ignore file, and let's save. Now see, after I save, look what happened. I can see these node modules changed to the color change from white to like something gray. So it indicates that this file is being ignored, this folder is being ignored. So now, since I've done that, let me add another commit. It's good to always add commit git status, and it's good to always check your status before you add. Now see, even after using my git status, you can see the git what's it called, the node module folder I created is not here. Let me show you one thing again. If I should come back here and maybe I remove this file, this folder from Git Ignore, and I added it here. So look at something. So I have, and let me check my git status again. So I can see the same thing. So because we are adding a node module file folder, and we've not added anything in it, so the git bash is not bringing it for commit. So let's go back and we do this. So we have ignored it also, and let me clear my git bash. So git add. Now I want to add just one folder. Since it is one folder, I can either use the dot sign, because I want to add this one only, it's just one, and I can then do the commit at the same time. Git commit, and the commit message should be add git ignore file. So I've added the Git Ignore file, and now we are good to go. So I can see it has changed to white again. And the next thing in our project requirement is set up a linter for HTML and CSS, and make sure that any files that are not relevant are ignored by Git. So the next thing here is to set up linter. As I said earlier, I created a video that gives all the step-to-step way of setting up a linter for HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can also set up a linter for HTML and CSS. It's the same procedure. So if you can just forward this part and check the description, or the link in the description to get access to the linter I have done initially. Setting up a linter I've done initially. So let me go here and create a new. So I've already opened the page, so let's see it. So I'll be doing this fast, so because I've already, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this folder and subfolder. I'm going to copy it, and you can see it is in the root directory. So I'll make it in the root directory too. So if you want to make sure you are in the root directory, just click outside this place like this. So it means you're in it. So now I can create a new folder. I'll paste the name. So I have created a new folder, GitHub, and a subfolder, workflow. Now let's go back to the repository we want. So now let us open this linter file. So we have another file in the folder. So let us copy this. So let me just say we have linters.yml file. Let us open it, because we are going to copy the code inside. So copy this code, and don't forget the name. You need to name your file exactly this way, linters.yml. So linters.yml. So in the workflow directory, subdirectory, you are going to create this file. So linters.yml. Then you paste the code you copied. So I can see I have pasted the code I copied, and don't forget to save. So now that's the first part. Now the second part is you go back to your HTML CSS directory repository. Then you also, this file is also in the root directory. So it's not inside this GitHub directory, it is in the root directory where this GitHub directory is also found. So you are going to click on it and also copy the link. So and you must actually name the name the same, int rc. So make sure you are in the root directory too, and you create a new file. So .int rc. So enter and you paste the code you copied. So you save your file. Now the next part is you go back again and you copy the streamlined rc.streamlined.json file. So you copy these two. This is for the style sheet for CSS. So you copy it and you make sure you're in the root directory, and also you create a new folder .streamlined.rc.json. Then you paste the code you copied and you save. Now we finished setting up linters on our local system. So where we are going to so this linter is going to help you to check to make your code go well. Like if you have some bugs to fix, it's going to tell you the exact line. So and you are going to see it. And if you want to know more about it, you can check my video I did for the setting up linters in Microverse. I'll put the link in the description. So now I'm done with this. So we have set up a linter for HTML and CSS. Now the next part is add a descriptive readme file to your project. Please use this template. So I can see this is the part we've already done. We've done this. We've added our readme file and we are using the template. So I will not be editing this readme file for now. I may do that in a separate video because it may make this video to be long. So to make this video shorter, so I'm going to leave this template as it is. So I'll do another separate video to talk about how you can edit or update your readme file. Now the next part is add 3 files. So we are going to add 3 files. And before we add 3 files, I can see we have some changes to commit to add. So let us add that before we move on. So you can check Git status to check what you want to commit, what you want to add. So we have these files, GitHub, and it has some things in it, and int rc folder. So now let me, because I haven't show you how to have an individual file. So I want to do that now. To do that, you just the same way, git add, and the name of the file, let me use .int rc. So this .int rc. This is the name of the file. And if I should click on enter, so I've staged the file. And if I should check it, you see it has been staged. I can see now this file has been changed to green because I've already staged it. So I just need to commit it, but I haven't staged this too. So for this one, I'm going to use the normal way I used to do it, and I'm going to now let me commit everything. So my commit message, what did we do in these changes, in this update we want to commit? We added linter files. So let me add linter files. Now I've added linter files, and let me push. I can push also, git push. So before I push, let me show you my repository again. So before I push, let me refresh the page. And don't forget, we are in the development branch right now. So let me change my development branch. So I can see I still have the normal MIT readme app. So this first one I've already pushed to the repo. So but the rest I've done locally. I haven't loaded this GitHub. I don't have it yet. So let me push so I can have it look in my remote also, my remote repository. So now I have pushed, and let's see again. let's see our file. Now after pushing, you will notice something. Development at recent pushes less than a minute. So that means this is how you will create a pull request. So we are not yet there now, so we don't need to create a pull request now. Let's finish working on our project. So let me refresh my page and see what we have. Now as you can see, now I have this. As you can see, I have these. So added files, GitHub workflow, which I created, the Git Ignore, the int.rc, so and all other files I have created and folders I have created locally. So since I have pushed my repository, remote repository, so I can also see it here. So let's continue. Now the next thing we are going to be doing is we want to add 3 files. So we want to add 3 files, each one in a separate commit. So I hope you can do this too. So let us add the 3 files. The first file is an HTML file, and it should just include a text saying a header text that's saying hello world, hello Microverse. So we should use h1 tag for that. So let's do that first. So make sure you're in the root folder, and you should create a new file. So we name it index.html file. So in this file, I want what I want to do. I want to create a simple hello Microverse test. So since we are going to be using the HTML5, we are using HTML5 for our project in Microverse. So the best thing to do is to use this. And if you are using VS Code, just click on Shift and exclamation mark and press enter. So you are going to have a template. So this I have. So now I want to add h1. Just press h1 enter. So and we have what is it called? Hello Microverse. So you save. So I have added the first part, the first file. So the second one is a CSS file that includes one class with styles for your header. So I want to create a CSS file that includes one class with styles for your header. Make it in your favorite color. So we want to create a new file and let's make that styles.css. And in the styles.css, we haven't added a class to our HTML file. Let us add a class. We can say class, and let's say header one, or let's just say header. So header class, and you save again. And also we need to link our CSS. So link, and the link to your CSS is what styles.css. Now you save again. So let us now use the class we created in the index file, in the index HTML file in our CSS file. To do that, to target a CSS, to use a CSS selector, you use your dot, and the CSS name is header. Then you do this, and to get an error, so let me leave it to test our linter rather. So let me use this. Let me use it like this. So the color should be, let us use a color. Let me say red. So now you save also. So the next part is what? A test.md file. So this test.md file should have this file. This file should be ignored. So it means that Microverse is telling us that we should ignore this file. This test.md we want to create, we should ignore it. Sorry. That you can see, make sure that the last file, which is this test.md file, is actually ignored by Git and is not present in your GitHub repository. So what we are going to do is we are going to create another file, and we are going to name it test.md, and we are going to put this file should be ignored. So as said by Microverse, we need to ignore this file. So we want to ignore this file, so we have to come to our Git Ignore again and we are going to add another file we want to ignore. This one is the module we ignored, and we want to ignore another file, which is this test.md file. And to do that, we are just going to put test.md md. So when you do that, you ignore this file. So let's save. So when I save, I can see this also changes to ash, like ash color, so because it has been ignored. Now, and we have to separate. We need to commit each file separately. So let us do that again. So you can check what you want to commit. Git status. So we have Git status. Then okay, before adding this to so let me commit everything first. So let me commit it first before I add it to the Git Ignore. Let me check again. Good. So I have these 3 files. So git add, I want to add and commit this file separately. Git add, so using their name, their file name. So I've added the git index.html, and the commit message should be git commit add index.html file. So I've added that and I've committed it. So git add hotness styles.css. So git commit add styles for index HTML. So I'm just writing like that, so you can have better way of describing your message. And the last one is git add test.md and git commit. So add test.md file. So good. Now let me clear this, and so I have added the commit, and if I should check my git status, so you see there's nothing else to commit, everything is up to date. So just to push to my repository. Now what I'm now going to do is, according to Microverse, this test.md file, I want to ignore it. So in my git ignore file, so I'm going to add test.md. So now if I should save, you will see so now let us also commit this git status to check git add ignore test.md file. So now I have done that. I have ignored this file, but it's not actually been ignored, I think, because okay, so I think there is an error here. This file should be ignored, but I don't know why. Let me just add it this way and see if it's going to work. Okay, maybe because I have already committed it. So, but no problem. So it is likely because I have already committed these changes. That is why it is not being in the color, in the ash color. So let's just continue. I would like, oh no, this is not what I intend doing. Oh no. So let's continue our work. So we have a problem here. So this git ignore this test.md. So I should have, so what you need to do is, before you commit, you need to, I think you need to add it to the git ignore. But Yes, there's no problem. We've already ignored it. We've ignored it, and let us continue. So let me check what I'm doing. So there's nothing else. Now here we have open a pull request. So this is what we are going to do next. We need to open a pull request. So but before we do that, we have to push our everything. I can see we still have something to push. So you can use git status to check. So we have something to push, and to do that you just git push. So I have pushed to my repo, and so let's go to my repository to create a pull request. So the next we are going to be doing now is to create a pull request. So now you will notice something here, that this test.md is not ignored, and I think because I have added that already, I have committed that before. Is in here, but I don't know why it's not. So I would like to redo that. So I would like to redo that, and I'm going to show you how to do that here too. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let me delete this file, because according to Microverse I want to follow the instructions. So now, and I want to remove this from here too. So let me save and let me git add git commit. So remove test.md file. Now so the next thing I'm going to do is I want to create a new file, test.md, and this file should be ignored by Git Ignore, or let me say it should be ignored. So, and let me save. So I have saved this, and I have to ignore it according to Microverse. So let me come here and so add it here, test.md, and save. So if I can see now the color has changed. So I'm going to commit again, git status, then git add git commit ignore test.md file. Then now I want to push git push. So now I have pushed, and let me refresh my page. Good. Now I have refreshed my page, and if you see, you notice that the test.md file is not here. So because I've already ignored it. So you should make sure that you ignore the file before you commit it to your repository. Now the last thing we are going to be doing is to create a pull request. To create a pull request, you just come here and compare and pull request. Good. So this is the setup hello world project. So this is the title of the pull request, and this is the pull request should have the details of what you did in the project. So I will make sure I will do this so that to teach you how to create a pull request. So, and I can start by saying I did the following in this pull request. So, and you can add them as a list. You can add them as a list. And one thing I used to do is that you can even come to this part of the requirements and copy this part. Everything you did there, you can copy it and edit it in your pull request. So I've copied it and I'll be using it here. So now the first one is I create. You just say I did the following in this pull request. So, or you can say I implemented the following in this pull request. Create a new GitHub repo. Then the next thing I did is, after creating a GitHub repo, so I create a new branch according to the GitHub flow. So you can just remove the link. So you can remove the link. Sorry. You can remove the link. So that's the second one. So the third part is I added a Git Ignore file. Then again, the next part is I added node modules to Git Ignore file. Also, the next part is I set up a linter for HTML and CSS. You can also remove the link here. So, and I make sure that any files that are not relevant are ignored by Git. Also, in this part, next part, you can add a descriptive readme file to your project. Don't forget, I said I'll do another video to teach you how you can edit the readme template in Microverse. So you can remove this one, please remove. So then the next part is add 3 files. So I added 3 files, each one in a separate commit. So you can add that too. Then the next part is and okay, this could just so the first file I added is so a HTML file that includes a header with the text hello world. So you can just see, so using h1 tag for that, using h1 tag. Then you can also come here. So I added a CSS file that includes one class with styles, for the header or for my header. So you can remove this. And the next part is a test. I added a test.md file that with the text. This file should be ignored by Git. So, and the last part is I make sure that the last file is actually ignored by Git and is not present in GitHub repository. So this is a well descriptive pull request because it tells the person, the reviewer that will review your code, what you did in your project. And so for you to easily do that, you can copy the requirement, what you actually did. So using the requirement and use it in your pull request. This is also a bonus for you. So, and you should also, if you have the Grammarly extension, so you can, so that everything will be okay. So I can just leave this like this. Now let me just use to .git ignore file. So add a descriptive, okay, and so I will not. So you can edit this later yourself. And the next thing I'm going to do after describing my my pull request, you can also preview it. So I implemented the following. This is how it's going to look. So then after that, you can create a pull request. Now, since you have created your pull request, now you will see something. You go down and check your linters, because the essence of the linter is to check your file if there is any error, if there's any bug, so you can fix it, so that you can fix it. So, and this is how to do it. Now you can see the linters are still loading. The linters, we remember we created stylints, something like stylint linters. So, and we also created this using the linters, the YML file and the likes. So they are checking, and you will notice that for you to submit your pull request in your dashboard, when you come to your dashboard there, so since I'm on a break, so that is why I don't have this coming. So you see under the project you are doing, let's say this is the project we are doing, I've already done it, and you see something like you should submit there will be a button here where you can submit your project. So but before you submit your project, you must make sure that there is no linter error. But in our case here, there is a linter error, I can see. So this is another way. This is one bonus I'm also teaching you how to. I've actually done a video for that, but for you to learn more, so I'm going to be showing you how you can fix this error. So you check details under the failed linters. I can see the linter that failed is just this one, style it. So you can just check it using the details. And you also notice that here you have a red cross that there is an error, so you cannot submit this until if you submit a project with linter error, so it will be cancelled. The submission will be cancelled, and you need to fix the error before you submit again. So now you see you have opened another. When I click the details, it brings me to the actions bar in my GitHub repository, and it gets me there where the error lies, style lint report. So this is how you are going to check where you are having problem, and this is the essence of using the linters. It's very important. And also you can also install you can also use linters locally on your system before even pushing to your repository. So I'll do a separate video to teach you how to do that, how you can use linters in your local system, so that you get everything fixed before you push to your GitHub repository. So now this error is telling us that we have two errors. I can see process completed with exit code 2. So we have two errors, and the first one is the on line 2 column 5. I can just say it like that. So we have this error, and the error is expected indentation of 2 spaces. So we have an indentation error. So let us go back to our CSS file. So this is our CSS file, and let's see the error. This is error, the line 2, and line 2, this is 1. Let's count. I see column 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where the error lies. So it means that we need to make the indentation 4, not 5. Sorry, not 4. Sorry, we need to make the sorry for that. We need to make the indentation 2 and not 4. So to do that, you can just do 1, 2, and use your delete key on your keyboard. 1, 2. So now I have fixed this error. So the first error has been fixed. So now we have only 2 spaces, indentation of 2 spaces. The second error is this part, 3 on line 3, and does the first column. So unexpected missing end of source new line. So no missing end of source new line. So this error is telling us that we need to have a new line after line 3. This is line 3. This is line 3, and we need to have a new line. So when we have this line, so this error will be fixed. So now I can see we fixed the 2 errors. The next we are going to do is to now, because we did this locally, we have to also push it to the GitHub repository, the remote repository, to let the GitHub know that we fixed the error. And to do that, we use our normal process, git add. So let me do this fast. Git commit. As I said, always make sure your commit messages are well descriptive. So what do you do in this? You can ask yourself the question, what did I do in this change? So what I did is I fixed linter errors. So now I'm going to push git push. Sorry, everything is up to date. Let me git status. Okay, let me see if I've fixed that. Oh, sorry, I can see I did not save. So I have to save first. So that is the importance of using git status to check. So if I have used git status, so I will know that okay, I have something to do. Sorry, a mistake. Git status. So I can see now I can now use my so git add, then git push. Good. So I have pushed now. So let me go back to my pull request I have created. So and it is checking again. Whenever you push and you've created a pull request, so it's going to check again to see if there's no linter error. So let us wait for it. Good. As you can see, our linters here, the one that failed before, the styling, it has passed. So it has passed. So let's wait for this last one to also finish loading. Good. I can see all checks have passed. So, and you notice here that you have green mark. So this indicates that you can submit your pull request and you've already completed this project. But you have to submit your project first to see if it aligns with Microverse requirement, because there will be a code reviewer that is going to review your code after submitting the pull request. So I can say, look at the code review. Follow this step to request a code review of your project. So that's the next thing we are going to be doing, and I will be doing that in my next video. In my next video, I will be telling you how you can submit your project after creating a pull request. So thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful and want to continue your learning journey in Microverse and beyond, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We regularly upload new videos and tutorials that delve into various aspects of project development, coding best practice, and exciting world of programming within the Microverse ecosystem. By subscribing, you will stay updated with our latest content, helping you expand your skills and stay ahead in the industry. Don't miss out on the opportunity to deepen your knowledge and take your project to the next level with Microverse. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.